But that lady, that new press secretary, she's a gangster.
That video, dude.
She's a gangster. They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple.
The moment Karoline Leavitt filed her newest lawsuit against The View, the media world exploded again. But what made this different? Joe Rogan didn't just comment. He went in swinging, and Sunny Hostin was his first target. Karoline wasn't just fed up this time, she was on fire. After enduring countless insults from the hosts, she decided she wouldn't just walk away quietly. She hit them where it hurts, in court. This new lawsuit wasn't just about bruised egos or hurt feelings. It was about accountability. And Leavitt was determined to make The View finally answer for what she called calculated defamation on national television. When word got out that Karoline was suing again, The View scrambled to control the damage, but it was too late. The headlines were everywhere, and right behind them came Joe Rogan, mic in hand, ready to blow the roof off their narrative. Rogan didn't mince words. In front of millions of listeners, he said it plainly. You've never seen someone more prepared for a question in your life. He was talking about Karoline, and everyone knew it.
I agree that Joe Rogan is a horror.
I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation?
He wasn't just praising her professionalism. He was dragging Sunny Hostin, who had tried to ambush Leavitt in a previous segment with misleading stats and passive-aggressive smirks. Joe saw it all and decided to speak up, loudly. Sunny's not dumb, Rogan admitted, but she's blinded by her own bias. She's too deep in the echo chamber to see it. And that line sent shockwaves through the media world, because no one expected him to go that hard. The View's entire setup started to crack. Viewers were now watching old clips of Leavitt being mocked, ridiculed, and talked over. And it wasn't a good look for the show that claimed to support women's voices. And just like that, public sympathy began shifting, not toward the well-paid panelists on The View, but toward Karoline Leavitt, the woman who dared to sue a major network and still show up to speak her truth. This wasn't just a court case anymore. It became a symbol of how mainstream media personalities often say what they want, with no consequences, until someone finally stands up to them. Joe Rogan wasn't done. On his show, he blasted The View for acting like a clique of elitists who think yelling makes them right. The clip of his takedown went viral within hours. Rogan even called out Sunny by name, saying she attacked Karoline's character because she had no facts to work with. His listeners ate it up, and social media was on fire. Meanwhile, Karoline remained composed, confident, as her legal team filed motion after motion, stacking the evidence like bricks. The message was clear. She wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting against media bullies. The arrogance on that stage is insane, one viewer posted.
So, apparently Joe Rogan has the most popular podcast on Spotify, and he's repeatedly spread COVID misinformation and invited guests on to do the same.
From Walter Cronkite basically to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes
in dragons?
He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roamed the earth when people did.
Worried about losing your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in dragons.
Karoline didn't just walk in there with facts. She walked in with courage. And the comment section agreed. Sunny tried to clap back on her next episode, brushing off the lawsuit as frivolous, but the tremble in her voice said otherwise. She knew the walls were closing in, and fast. And while Sunny smirked on camera, Joe Rogan's audience doubled down. "You went after the wrong woman," one commenter wrote. "Now Joe's involved. You're done." In court filings, Karoline's team laid out everything: the name-calling, the career smears, even the remarks about her looks. It was brutal, and the public was stunned by how deep it went. One segment even revealed behind-the-scenes chatter where a producer allegedly said, "Let's rattle her." That one line could change everything. And if proven true, it's game over for The View. Back in podcast land, Joe wasn't letting up. "They claim to uplift women," he said, "but the moment a conservative woman speaks, they try to humiliate her." That quote lit up Twitter. This was no longer about politics. It was about power. And Karoline Leavitt, backed by Rogan's platform and a legal army, was rising, while The View began to sweat under the spotlight they once controlled. As Karoline's lawsuit gained steam, so did the backlash against The View. Clips of past episodes were now resurfacing, exposing how the hosts repeatedly rolled their eyes, laughed off real issues, and mocked guests who didn't align with their views. People weren't just watching anymore. They were outraged. "This isn't a talk show," one viral post said. "It's a smear machine hiding behind coffee mugs and applause signs." Joe Rogan's voice only amplified that outrage. How many times are they going to insult someone, then cry foul when they're sued? He asked. The answer? Probably one time too many. Sunny Hostin tried to clean things up with a short statement on air, claiming she respects all women in public service. But the damage had already been done, and her words rang hollow. Behind the scenes, ABC executives were reportedly panicking. Insiders say calls were flying between legal departments and PR firms.
That's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
We're checked by everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
Human legal.
But
I don't know these people.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, "We are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons." So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest f***ing statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't believe
the other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh.
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles.
One source even said, "This lawsuit has legs and teeth." Karoline's attorneys weren't backing down either. They claimed the show not only misrepresented her views, they intentionally sought to embarrass her for ratings. That allegation struck hard. Suddenly, the courtroom became the new battleground, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If Karoline wins, it could send a message to every media outlet. Reckless talk comes with consequences. And Rogan, he doubled down. Again. "This isn't about politics anymore," he shouted. "It's about decency, and The View lost all of theirs a long time ago." His words resonated with millions who were tired of watching biased segments masquerading as informed debate. Social media users began trending hashtags like #StandWithCaroline and number sign View on Trial. Sunny tried to laugh it off in a later episode, but that laugh felt forced, uncomfortable, even defensive. It was clear this wasn't going away anytime soon. Fans of The View began to waver too. Even longtime viewers started saying the show felt mean-spirited, elitist, and out of touch. That shift could spell disaster for the brand. Joe Rogan brought up an even bigger point. What if this happened to someone without Karoline's resources or platform? That line struck a chord, because not everyone can fight back the way she did. Karoline herself released a short message, saying she didn't take legal action out of vengeance, but out of principle. "I was demeaned on national television," she said. "It was either let it slide or stand up." That statement alone earned her thousands of new supporters overnight. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't name-calling. She was fighting back, with facts, with purpose, and with strength. Meanwhile, The View's producers scrambled to edit future segments more carefully. Gone were the off-the-cuff smears, replaced by awkward silences and nervous chuckles.
I had to read the thing about The View because I just thought it was funny.
What's
That's
The View?
the only reason why I read
Dragon.
that about me.
What's
Dragon
The View?
lover.
It's the
Tell me
Joy
what this
Behar
is.
was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just
She
heard
said,
about
I
it.
checked it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should've been like,
you think they lived
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people?
The tone of the show had clearly shifted, and viewers noticed. One tweet said it best. "They look like kids who just got caught lying to the principal." But Joe Rogan didn't let up. "You can't just throw garbage at people and then cry when they throw it back in court," he said. That line hit hard, and it kept the pressure alive. As the lawsuit made its way into headlines, Karoline's legal team dropped more evidence, transcripts, recordings, even internal memos that hinted at a deliberate campaign to mock her. Sunny's response? Silence. For someone usually so quick to clap back, she was suddenly quiet. Too quiet. And that silence said everything. The storm had arrived, and The View, once a media powerhouse, was now standing in its eye, with nowhere to run. With the courtroom doors open and the public tuned in, Karoline's lawsuit had officially become the media trial of the year. People weren't just watching. They were choosing sides, and Sunny Hostin was feeling the heat like never before. Every day brought a new headline, a new clip, a new moment of reckoning. One insider from the show even whispered, "We underestimated her." Big mistake. That one quote spread like wildfire across social platforms. And while The View tried to pivot back to regular topics, the shadow of the lawsuit loomed large over every segment. Viewers could sense the tension, the forced laughter, the uncertainty behind every smile. Joe Rogan, meanwhile, was relentless. On his next podcast episode, he said, "You can't call yourself a journalist and act like a bully at recess." The room laughed, but the message was deadly serious. Fans of the show started to fracture. Some defended the hosts blindly, but others began questioning the integrity of the program they once loved. "Is this really the voice of reason?" one longtime viewer asked, "or just a loud echo chamber?" Karoline's team unveiled another shocker in court, a leaked email where a producer allegedly referred to her as an easy target. That one line set social media on fire. It was no longer just an insult. It looked like premeditation.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies infested hen house.
and at the same time, it seemed like the most interesting part was their audience seemed to be on my side.
Yes.
And that's their audience.
Yes. Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows.
Sunny Hostin had no real response. She stayed polished on camera, But off-air, whispers of concern grew louder. One ABC executive reportedly said, "She needs to say something. Silence is becoming guilt." At that point, Joe Rogan's platform began to reshape the entire conversation. He invited legal experts, media analysts, and even former daytime TV producers to discuss the lawsuit's implications. And every single one of them said the same thing. This could change everything. One expert said, "If Karoline wins this, the days of unfiltered slander on daytime television are numbered." That prediction was echoed across headlines and late-night panels. Even comedians started taking shots at The View, calling it the least funny drama on television. Suddenly, the mockers were being mocked, and they didn't like it one bit. Meanwhile, Karoline continued to gain supporters, not just from conservatives, but from liberals and independents who respected her courage to fight back. This wasn't just political anymore. It was moral. "I don't care what side you're on," one viral post said. "No one deserves to be publicly humiliated for clout." That sentiment was growing fast. The court of public opinion was shifting. Ratings for The View started dipping. Sponsors grew nervous, and social media erupted every time a new clip of Joe Rogan's takedown surfaced. Sunny Hostin's once confident tone grew shakier by the day. Each comment she made felt more defensive, more cautious, as if she knew one wrong word could be used against her in court. Joe Rogan, for his part, wasn't slowing down. "They thought they could just throw her under the bus," he said. "Turns out Karoline owns the bus now." That quote went viral in minutes. Then came the final blow. Courtroom video evidence allegedly showing behind-the-scenes reactions from the hosts after mocking Karoline live on air. The footage showed laughter, mockery, and one damning moment of celebration that could seal the case. The audience was stunned. Viewers started demanding answers. "Where's the apology?" one post read. "Why aren't they being held to the same standards as everyone else?" ABC was now in full damage control. Lawyers were scrambling, publicists were spinning, and the network's image was teetering on the edge of collapse. And through it all, Karoline Leavitt stood firm, not as a victim, but as a warrior who refused to be silenced, her silver cross shining, her voice unwavering, her resolve stronger than ever. This wasn't just a lawsuit. It was a revolution against arrogance, dishonesty, and elitist media games. And with Joe Rogan lighting the torch, the flames of change were impossible to ignore.